There have been two hugely significant and immensely exciting developments here at Bramley-Moore this week, one of which involves the actual infill of the dock. Now, it will take 480,000 cubic metres of fluidised sand to fill in Bramley-Moore Dock, and thus far we're more than halfway there. It really is a huge step forward for the whole project, and it all means that for the first time, the very first time, I can actually stand on Bramley-Moore Dock. Andy, I find it incredible that we're standing virtually inside the dock. It's all happened so quickly.
Yes, that's right, Darren. It's only just over 6 weeks ago since we actually started dredging with the dredging vessel from the River Mersey into the dock. Previously, where we started spreading the sand over the dock with the spreader pontoon, we disconnected the floating pipeline and then we started discharging directly from the steel pipeline, which you can just see sticking out the sand over there. And that operation will continue now for the next 2 to 3 weeks. The machine that you can see tracking around just at the back of us here, the bulldozer, he basically will keep tracking around and compressing the sand as he goes, compacting the sand as he goes, which actually acts to drain the sand and squeeze the water out of it, if you like. That makes it more manageable so that he can essentially carve out the process.
He's going perilously close to the edge of the sand. He's got to be careful, hasn't he?
Certainly has got to be careful. There is an art to it. He's a very experienced operative and he's been involved with operations such as this for a long time.
For somebody like yourself, Andy, that's been involved in the project from the start, how significant is it to see the dock more or less half full?
This is a really significant milestone for us. Over the next few weeks we'll continue to watch this rolling sand front progress over to the east side of the dock. And that means that then we can now start to think about moving the operations onto the western half, where we can start the piling platform, the piling and the foundations for the west stand.
Are you on schedule, and when do you expect the dock to be completely full of sand?
Yes, we are on schedule. We're anticipating that the dock should be finished by say, mid to end of January.
480,000 cubic metres of fluidised sand, and you're more than halfway there, aren't you?
We certainly are. We are approximately 315,000 cubic metres of sand in now, so we're almost three quarters of the way there now.
And we're quite literally standing here where the pitch is going to be. Part of the pitch is going to be here, isn't it?
Absolutely. We're stood just outside of where the west stand will be, where the western plaza will be, just on the west stand.
It makes such a difference, doesn't it, when there's such a significant change to the landscape? Everybody can feel it coming together.
That's right. Certainly when the dock is full and it appears as though we've got one level surface across the dock, you can really start to envisage the project coming together then.
The sand dunes that we're standing on, Andy, will they eventually be spread all over the dock?
They will. So the dunes that we're looking at is essentially what we call a bund. And so this bund will move as the rolling sand front progresses over to the east, and the bund is always going to be in place, and that's in order to protect the sand at the back of us from being washed away as the sand-water mixture is pumped through the steel pipeline.
Definitely so far so good, isn't it?
So far, excellent.
Dave, this is a hugely significant part of the project. Just explain what's happening behind you there.
So this is Core A0, which sits in the northwest of the building. It's the first sort of major concrete pour which we've done so far on the new Everton scheme.
It's the first sort of overland part of the project that we've seen. How significant is that?
It's a massive milestone for us, especially for someone like myself who's worked on this project in the design element for the last sort of 18 months. To actually see, some concrete going in the ground, structural works is it's really exciting.
Just explain in layman's terms exactly what the process is, Dave.
So essentially we have piled, we've excavated the piles, tested piles, dropped in prefabricated reinforcement, about 30 tonnes in total. We have then used sort of a permanent formwork system, backfilled around, casting items, bolt sets, bits of drainage, and as you can see today, we're pouring the concrete.
We've seen the guys there pouring the concrete into, for want of a better phrase, the little pits. How many of those little pits will there be?
There's sort of 20 or so pile caps, sort of a main sort of T-piece which houses the main core walls for this first phase. There's roughly 200 cube of concrete in total to go into that foundation there.
How long before it sets? How long before you can actually start to construct on it?
So this foundation here sits below the ground floor slab in core A0. So we'll put some retarder on that this evening after the pour. We'll jet wash it off in the morning to give it an exposed aggregate finish, and then we'll start the slab works. So tomorrow morning-ish, the guys will be okay to work on that.
You'll be very pleased with the progress that you're making.
Yeah. Since I've sort of been coming to site, you know, from demolishing the existing warehouses to filling the dock to actually getting the piling rig in and starting construction foundations, a lot's been achieved in sort of 4 or 5 months.